Sisterhood.
Sisterhood.
Sisterhood
It
is...
means that you're in something for the rest of your life.
I am because of who we all are. So during your 21 years here, you got here in 1986. Tell me what your obstacles were when you got the job.
Well, right away, the very first year was just a matter of changing the culture. And so that whole evolution of that first year was really difficult on me. I had never lost before. Laying that foundation was very difficult and very challenging. In year two, we're the biggest turnaround in the country. Maybe misspeaking, but at least was in the top 5. And so that was quite good. We had obviously gotten the message across to the kids. They bought in. Year 3 was the year we went to the NCAA, the first that ever happened here at UC. Year 4, big knock in my chest again. Things fell off a little bit, and I think had a lot to do with that I didn't realize the landscape was changing, and people were putting money into women's basketball, and UC was not doing that. But because we had won so big with so little, expectations and resources did not go hand in hand. And so we had to start to fight that fact that things weren't where we needed financially. So within that combination of poor budget and me being sick, we fell behind and we lost back. And I tried to readjust through that and tried to find a way, how could I motivate people to play above themselves?
We have to dig into this 89 team that goes to the NCAA tournament. Now, mind you, we know that you've been here for every single NCAA tournament this program has ever had. And clearly, we hope to add to that here in the near future. Will. Talk about that team, because it's their 35th anniversary, right, this year. So.
Yeah, well, that was the team I was speaking of in those first 3 years. But that experience had, well, first of all, we were an at-large in a field of 48 teams. And that's not very many teams. So we're really proud of that we were an at-large team because we lost in the conference championship. And so I thought we were not going to get in. But we had 3 big-time players, in my opinion, Bev Obringer, Trinette Wright, and Regina Williams. And we ran a triangle offense to isolate them and get the ball to them, and they did a great job. They were extremely talented and got the job done. Matter of fact, I think all 3 of them could have played pro. Bev did, and just as a sidebar, Regina Williams is now the first female AD at Withrow High School, which is her alma mater. Also, I think she belongs here at the UC Hall of Fame. From there, we had the 3 Ks, Karen and Kathy and Kelly, that are the freshmen when I got here. And then we pulled in Donna Harkless, a shooter, and Mick Koenig, a great point guard. But these kids really put the time in for us and really believed in us. We were able to go in a 3-year period picking that starting group and turning them into the group that they ultimately were because they bought in. They let us take the talents that they each had and put them on show on the floor, and everybody accepted their role. And ultimately, it paid off, and we got to the NCAA after just 2 years, where we only won 6 games.
Unbelievable, but that's you. And see, all I know is Lori Pirtle greatness. So
thank you.
Sometimes to hear
nice
about some of those years, I'm like, no way, Lori wasn't the coach then. Not if that happened. Not if there wasn't a winning season or a postseason.
Well, there's lots of things that go into winning, and you just have to have a chance. You have to have some support, and you have to have things that make it attractive for the recruits to come. And when that started to happen, we started to win.
You had some really awesome wins that year too. And if you have one in particular that stuck out, how it ended or how you all played, what would that game be?
Well, year 3 it was glaring which one just really caught my eye, and it was the second game of the season. We had just lost to Georgia by I think a little bit under 20, but still we lost. And so I didn't know really, I don't know what this measurement was of how good we were going to be, but we played UCLA and we beat them by 2. And I thought to myself, we got a chance. And not long after that, we beat Ohio State.
I always tell everybody that you are one of the best, if not the best, storytellers and motivators that I know. Where did that gift come from?
I like to say I'm a coat of many colors, like the Dolly Parton song, and I believe everybody is. But I'll start with my mom, and she was just really inspirational. And she wasn't about being the best you can be. She was about being the best. I think my time at Ohio State really taught me how to motivate my own self. Tara Vanderveer wanted to cut me. She said, she'll never start here. Those things fueled me. And I started to read little quotes my high school coach gave me. And then I went to Capital. But to go to the Final Four, I wanted to squeeze more out of them, pull more out of them. And so I learned to motivate from there. And then the drought we had at UC and going home and reading. I just would read things. I go, that gives me goosebumps. How can I get that across to my kids? How can I take them to another level so they can feel it? And if I do it every day, will I make them go from here to here, just from a mental standpoint of going, you can do this, it's in you. don't look back. And what makes me motivated for my own personal goals is something that I just feel that is important to share, that hope that I can do that for other people, and particularly when it counted here, where I wanted to win games.
During the Pirtle era, what do you want your legacy to be when people talk about you and your time here?
Well, that I was persistent and that I was resilient, and I did make the best of what we had. More importantly, that I did leave it better than I found it, and I left the kids better than we found them. And when a kid comes back to me and says, "You made me better," or "I am who I am today," partly because of the things you taught and how you taught us to be tough. Putting kids in position to be resilient through the rest of their life just because we were resilient here, and push them to their limits, and making their life have a better chance and just an opportunity to succeed, not only here, but later. And so just leaving everything better. If we would all do that, everything we do, if we would just leave it better than we found it, this world would be a better place. And if we cared about what happened to people that we deal with and who they are and who they're going to be, then this world will be a better place.
I speak on behalf of me and everybody that I know who had an opportunity and the privilege to play for you. Legacy confirmed.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor. And it's an honor to get to watch you run this helm. And as I always say, it's in your hands.
Appreciate you. I love you, Lori.
I love you too.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.